All right, so we're going to begin in Supta Baddha Konasana. So it's the feet together, knees out wide, bent. And you can try this, put a support, your blanket underneath your feet. Maybe it's a little stronger in the hips, but it's a different feeling. And seeing if you can find an easy breath in that posture. And if it's uncomfortable, of course, just begin with your legs in neutral, in parallel, feet hip width in parallel. Bringing your attention to your breath. Feeling the depth and satisfaction of the breath. Good. And then we're going to gently release out of that posture. And you don't need your blanket. Stretch your legs out straight and your arms out straight overhead. I'm going to have the palms up and feel the shoulder blades broad, wide, the back of the neck long. Stretch out through the soles of the feet. Good. Right. Take hold of your left wrist with your right hand, and we're going to lean to the right. So you're drawing length into your left arm. You can even wiggle your shoulders over to the right a little bit. Just really stretch out through your left arm. Good. And then we're going to gently walk the legs over to the right as well. So you're making a crescent moon shape or a banana shape. Good. And we'll let the left side of the body lengthen, but try and relax in your spine. We'll keep a lengthening happening through the legs, the arm. Finding that satisfying breath. Beautiful. Wiggling your legs back to center and your torso, your arms back to center. Good. Stretching out, palms facing. Really lengthen. Great. Now take your left hand and hold your right wrist. You're going to wiggle your shoulders a little bit to the left and draw length into the right arm this time. Make yourself as long as you can in your right ribs and relax your neck. Good. And then walk your feet over to the left side. You're really stretching your right side of the body, crescent shape. Feeling deep and satisfying breath. Spine relax. Good. And then back to center. Hug your arms and legs in and feet off the floor. Rock a little from there. So take your knees out wide. So hold your knees, take them out wide and towards the floor. Letting your back relax. Feel the breath in the belly. Good. And try your happy baby pose where you hold your feet or your ankles. Keep the knees as close to the floor as you can. We're going to rock gently from side to side. Feeling the belly expand with the breath. Expand and Nice work. Bring your knees over your hips and 90 degrees at your knees. Your feet are off the floor. Great. We're going to take the arms out from the shoulders, palms down. Press your lower back into the floor. Take your left leg and straighten it out and bring it back in. Now we're going to keep working just with the left leg. So straight out and then back to that starting position. So see if you can make the work feel like it's really in your belly and your lower back and not in your throat. Okay. Pressing the belly to the spine. Nice work. Release that side and then we do the right side. Press your lower back. Press your belly. Relax your throat. Good. And then release and hug your knees into your chest position. Rocking a little from side to side, massaging. Lovely. All right. Take the knees out wide and towards the floor and then happy baby pose. So hold as close to your feet as you can and see if you can bring that pose back towards the floor overhead. And sway from side to side, or you might like to just be still, finding the deep and satisfying breath. Feeling the spaciousness of the lungs and around your heart. Nice work. And then release. We're going to roll over. Take it nice and slow over to the side. Push yourself up with your hands. Good. And we've taken an all fours position. I'm swapping sides. Now the light's over here. Let's just start to sway forward and back. So stretch your fingers out wide. Press down through the base of the index finger. Now, as you sway back, take your hips back as far as they'll go. And as you sway forward, you might even be able to drop your hips and lift your breastbone in the upward facing dog. Somewhere along that axis. Tuning into how you feel this morning, how your hands and wrists are, to keep that pressure down on the index fingers. Whether the movement feels a little awkward or maybe the spine feels a little stiff in places. Appreciating all of that feedback. Good. And then back up to holding all fours. We're going to walk the knees together. We're going to take the right leg up. Now the knee is bent and we're trying to get a nice stretch in the front of the right hip. So we're lifting the sole of the foot up and we're going to look up. Good. We're going to take the right hand out in front. Now, if you have trouble with that balance, you can keep your fingertips on the floor. Otherwise, take the right hand out in front and even reach it out to the left now. And imagine you could take hold of your foot. You might even find your foot. You can lift up a little bit. Good. And then we're going to release that side. Now we're going to take the left leg up. I'm going to keep the knee bent. We're going to lift the sole of the foot as high as you can and look up. Beautiful. Lift up onto the right fingertip. If you really feel like you have your balance, sweep your right arm out to the side. Reach behind you and imagine you could take hold of that foot and even lift the foot higher. Good. And then release. Good. We're going to repeat. Right leg lifts, sole of the foot up to the ceiling. See if you've got your balance up on your left fingertips. Then you can take your arm out in front, out to the left, and then reach behind you. Do you grab hold of your foot? Lift the foot nice and good, releasing that sole. And last one. Left knee stays bent. Lift the sole of the left foot up towards the ceiling. Look up, beautiful, up onto your right fingertip. And maybe you add in the arm reaching behind you. Maybe even connecting with the foot and lifting the foot even higher. Good work. And then release. And then we're going to take child's pose, where you take your hips back towards your heels as far as your body allows. And letting go. Finding the satisfaction in each breath. We'll sweep the arms out in front, forward virasana. Look forward at your hands. We'll take the elbows out wide and we're going to bring the chest along the floor and lay the chest down between the hands. You're on your tummy. Bring the legs parallel, elbows in and elbows back. Lift the breastbone. Looking good, and as you exhale, lowering down. Press into the hands, elbows in, elbows back. Lift the breastbone, lift it up. And lowering down. Elbows in, elbows back. Lift the breastbone. Good. We're going to lift back up into all fours. Arch your spine up. Arch your spine down. Nice. Have your knees and hands far enough apart so that you can make your spinal wave movement. So in the spinal wave, we're trying to feel that each bone can move independently of its neighbors. Move as slowly or quickly as feels good. Feel the satisfying breath, the nourishment of the spine. Good. And then child's pose. This time in child's pose, though, take your knees a little bit wider. So if your hips are up high, still take your knees wider. We're all trying to get the hips as close to the heels as the body allows. And rest your hands where they feel comfortable for you. Connecting to your breath. Sorry, I have a cramp in my toe. Good. We're going to take the arms forward. Forward virasana. Elbows out wide. Bring the chest just above the floor until you're laying onto your tummy. For cobra pose, elbows in, elbows back, lifting the breastbone. Lowering back down. Squeeze the gluteus muscle towards each other, the buttock muscles. Inhale, arms up. Sorry, Breastbone up. Good. And laying back down. Elbows in, elbows back. Good. We're trying not to crunch the back. Elbows in, elbows back. Feel the back powerfully lifting the front without crunching the spine. Good. And we're going to do one more. Elbows in, elbows back. Lift the breastbone. Beautiful. Press up into all fours. Arch your spine up. Arch your spine down. Good. We're going to tuck the toes under. Lift the knees just off the floor. So your fingers are wide. Press your fingerprints, base of your index fingers. We're lifting the front core to support the back core and connecting to the breath. Nice work. Take your knees out a little bit wider, lowering back down into your child's pose. So knees are really wide here, testing that out. Arms where it feels best. Good. If you've got your face, your chest really close to the floor here because your knees are wider, you can always turn your face to one side if that feels okay. And a few breaths on one side, a few breaths on the other side. We're going to reach the arms out in front. Bring them into the middle of the mat. So thumbs touching. Good. We're going to keep the right hand there. Stretch it right out in front. We're going to sweep the left arm out to the left side and reach behind you. And see if you can take hold of your right hip or your right thigh or your clothing in that direction. And then bring the chest back towards the floor. Maybe you can even rest your head there. Letting the hips sink a little more towards the heels. Good. And release that side. So left arm swings all the way around to the front. And then we're going to take the right arm out to the right side and then reach behind you across to your left body, left hip or left thigh. Reaching as far as you can there. And then letting the left rib sink back down to the floor. And relaxing your head onto the floor. Keep the shoulder blades back. Keep lengthening the left arm forward. Connecting to your breath. Good, and then releasing back out to the front. Part your arm shoulder width. Good, we're going to keep the elbows on the floor and lift up. And walk the knees in so they're just hip width. Good. Take the knees back a little. Stretch the thumbs, stretch the fingers. Tuck the toes under. And lift the knees just off the floor. We're going to lift the front core of the body to support the back core of the body. Breathing deep. Nice work. And releasing. And resting into child's pose. Whether you want to have the wide legs or knees closer together, up to you. But just letting go. Nice work. We're going to come into a kneeling up position. Now we put your blanket under your knees. Take your right foot forward. We're going to reach the hands forward into a lunge. Now we're going to start to just sway the torso, the weight of the hips forward and back. Starting to wake up that hamstring of the right leg. Now when you reach back, you might even lift your toes up off the floor, reach the hips back a little bit more. So you can use your hands to help you walk the weight forward and back. Good. Noticing if there's an awkwardness to the hips or a resistance this morning. Maybe it feels really nice. Stretch. Whatever that feeling is coming up, paying attention. Good. We're going to hold it with the hips reaching forward, and I'll get you to wiggle your right foot out to the right side of your mat so your hands or your wrists can be under your shoulders. And we'll let the hips reach forward, and we're lifting the breastbone. Good. We'll try to keep the left foot parallel to the edge of the mat. Good. And then release. And we're going to step back into our kneeling up position. So that takes a little bit of balance, but you can always do that with your feet. Put your hands back on the floor. All right, we'll put the left foot forward. So in this first part of the pose where we're moving forward and back, we've got our limbs pretty much parallel to each other. The feet are parallel to the sides of the mat and about hip width distance. Good, so forward and back. And as you start, you might notice that the hamstring will feel a little bit tight. Depends on what you've been doing this morning. And as it starts to warm up or your body gets used to what this movement is, you can even peel the ball of the foot off. You can use your hands to help you walk your weight forward and back. Good. We're going to hold the forward position and wiggle your left foot out to the left side of your mat. So your wrists can be under your shoulders. Right foot parallel to the edge of the mat. Try to keep the left knee tucked in so the limbs are still almost parallel. Good, and we're letting the hips sink forward. Lift the breastbone, draw the shoulder. That idea of trying to embed the bones of your spine forward. Breathing. Good. Push yourself back and see if you can step your left knee back into that kneeling up position. Nice work. We're going to come up to standing. And come to the front of your mat. So you're used to looking at me the other way. I'm not really mirroring. So listen to the left and right. Feet underneath the hips. And inhale and arms up. And as you exhale, come into a half forward bend. Uttanasana. We're only going halfway because we're going to see if we can move the spine up and down. Even a wave-like movement. Just reminding ourselves of all of that subtle movement we have available. There's my garbage truck. Thank you. Beautiful. Finish your half forward bend with that feeling of embedding the bones of the spine forward, reaching the top of the head forward, lifting the sit bone.
Good. And then we're going to try and keep reaching the top of the head further and further forward. So we're starting to feel that stretch in the back of the legs. Your legs might be a little bit bent, but without rounding the spine. And find your deep breath. Feel the floor underneath your feet. Good. And then we're going to roll up. And the arms up. And look up. Good. Find Tadasana. Feel that there's a real strength in the front of the legs that can lift and lengthen your lower back. That the front core of the body has a working awareness that supports your spine. Breastbone lift, top of the head reaching up. Good. This time, we'll go into a deeper forward bend, but try to keep that lovely posture in your upper body. Inhale, arms up. And as you exhale, bend your legs. You can still keep your hands up onto your legs, or you can put them wherever, but keep the bones of the spine embedding forward. Feel that the back of the neck is long, plenty of space. Draw the shoulder blades back. Finding the breath. Reaching a little bit further. Without that reach being at the expense of your posture. Try to reach the belly further. Good, and then bend the knees and inhale and rolling all the way up. Nice work. Tadasana. We're going to be stepping the right foot back to the back of the mat. And if you like to have a chair in front of you to help you with that, now would be a good time. Inhale, arms up. And as you exhale, find your forward bend, paying attention to your posture. And we're going to step the right foot to the back of the mat. So we're in a long lunge. And we're going to drop the hips forward. We did that before with the knee on the floor. This time the knee's off the floor. And we're looking at that feeling in the right hip. Press the right heel back. Lift the breastbone. Look forward. Beautiful. Press powerfully into your left foot so the left thigh feels like it's really working to support. Good. Now we're going to lift the torso up. So really press into the legs. Lift the torso, lift the arm. And looking up. Draw the shoulder blades down. Good. Legs working powerfully. Try not to grip your toes, long and straight. And we're going to reach the arms back out in front, torso back out in front to the floor. And step forward. Forward bend. We're going to step the left foot back now. Long lunge. Bend your right knee. Let the left hip sink forward, but press the left heel back and press really powerfully into your right foot so your right thigh feels like it's working hard. Good. Lift the breastbone. So we want the legs to really take the weight here as we lift the torso and lift the arms up by the ears. Good. Draw the shoulder blades down. Looking up. Connecting with your breath. Good. And then releasing. Hands back to the floor. Whoa. Stepping the left foot forward. Uttanasana. And then bend your knee, then inhale. And rolling up, arms up, go. And Tadasana. Great. We're going to step whichever foot back so that you can face the long edge of your mat, your handy device. All right, let's turn toes in. Take the arms up by the ears. Look up. As you exhale, forward bend. You can have your hands on your legs or onto the floor. And we're going to press the outside edge of the feet, lift the inner arch of the feet, lift the kneecaps, lift the quadriceps, the sit bones, and walk your hands out as far as you can. So if your hands are up on your legs, you're walking your hands just to where your back allows, near to your feet. Otherwise, walk them out on the floor in front of you. Let your ears line up with your biceps. Embed the bones of the spine forward and connecting with your breath. Strong legs, keep the kneecaps lifting. Good. Slide your hands in so you can roll up. You can bend your knees a little if that feels better, of course. Roll up, arms up. Good. We're going to try toes turned out. And drop your hips. And lift the pelvic floor and lift the lower front belly. Good. And then side to side. Straight legs, bent legs. Good. Really feel that internal muscular support. I love this posture. You could do this while you're boiling the kettle in the kitchen. Use the bench to help. Beautiful. Come back to center, feeling really strong in the pelvic floor, lower front abdomen. Lift the breastbone. Sitting up proud. Good. I'm going to try and lift the heel. Ooh. Good. And then release. Nice work. Now we're going to come to sit. And you're going to think about all the movements that you make to get from here to sitting. I'm going to try and jump into a squat and then sit down. Put my hands on the floor. Little jump. Little sit. Whatever it takes to do that wisely. Sitting up onto a blanket and have a comfortable position for your legs. Might be crossed, might be out loosely long. Good. I'm going to take Parivirta Hasana, a simple side twist. Take your right hand across to your left leg, your left hand behind you, and we'll turn to the left and find where your body feels like that's the limit of your movement. Lengthen your spine from there. Really feel like the shoulder blades are sliding down. So the back of the neck feels spacious, easy. Then bring your attention to your breathing, to the fullness of the inhalation. And on the exhalation, the letting go. The diaphragm recedes into the lung cavity rather than the belly cavity. And see if you can move a little bit more. And magically, when you bring your attention to the breath, there's so much potential for movement. You're discovering the power of bringing your mind and your body and your breath into one moment, here and now. Good, and then release that side and change the cross of your leg. And we'll turn to the right side. Left hand to the right leg, right hand behind you. Find your limit. Lengthen the spine. Relax the shoulder blades down. See how that makes the neck easy, more easeful. And then finding the breath. Expansion of the ribs on the inhalation, but the way they contract on the exhalation, making room to move. All of that potential. And then release. And back to center. Nothing quite like it. We're going to lay down. And take a blanket. You can fold it long way if you've got a sort of a bolster shape. Put that in underneath your hips. And bring the soles of the feet together again and your knees out wide for, again, your Baddha Konasana. A different expression. If for some reason it just feels too strong for your hips, plant your feet on the floor so that your legs are parallel and your feet are parallel. Try that instead. And this posture is not always what I'd call relaxing. It can be very challenging. So we'll try and take a curious attitude and relax your body where you can. And connect with the breath, nourishing and satisfying. Very gently bring the legs back to center. Good, take your blanket out. Arms straight out from your shoulders, inside edges of feet together, knees together. Lift the hips, swing them left, and knees go right. And we're just going to take a nice big stretch here. So stretch your left knee across to the right, left shoulder blade on the floor. Turn your head to look over your left shoulder. Big, deep breath. Okay, really power your awareness in the core of your body. You're squeezing the pelvic floor. Imagine you could take the weight of your feet and your knees off the floor and bring them back to center with muscular support for the spine. Good. Feet to the floor. Lift your hips, swing them right. Knees go left. and a big stretch. We're going to take the right knee as far as we can to the left. Right shoulder blade stays on the floor. Turn to look over the right shoulder. Deep breath. And then powerful awareness in the core. Lift the feet and the knees off the floor. So when you lift your legs back to center, there is support for the spine. Good. Feet onto the floor. Recenter. Hug your knees into your chest. If you need to finish your practice now, then rolling to your side. And if you'd like to stay for the relaxation, that's another 10 minutes. So you can lay your legs out straight. So namaste to you if you're leaving. Otherwise, legs lay out. Rolling the palms up. So you have that sense of